Welcome to Chat Dungeon. Have you ever wondered what goes on inside the minds of the most fascinating people on Earth? Well, wonder no more, because here in Chat Dungeon we delve deep into the lives and stories of those who dare to be different. Welcome, Dungeon Crawlers. I'm your host, Joe. Each episode, I'll be your guide, leading you through conversations that are thought-provoking, surprising, and maybe even a little bit dangerous. We'll be venturing into the unknown, exploring the depths of human experience and unearthing the secrets that lie within. So buckle up, grab your metaphorical torch, and get ready to descend into the Chat Dungeon. You never know who you might meet down here. Jared, welcome to Chat Dungeon. Thank you so much for being guest number one.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here.
It's a rainy Thursday morning. We've been to a 1950s diner in the driving weather. We're full of burgers and poutine, and now we're sat by a fire in Jared's cozy. What are we calling this? Lair?
Fantasia.
This is Narnia with a G. And thank you for inviting me into your home as well. This is a very cool setting. For those who don't know, and I'm pretty sure everyone does know, Jared, what's the best way to describe you? Because I was thinking about this morning. Inside you are two wolves, and one is like out in space, floating around in the cosmos in sort of a psychedelic, sort of sci-fi fantasy world. And then the other part of you is so well connected to Earth and, you know, growth and flowers and trees and things like that. And then do you just happen in the middle when those two things collide?
I think that's the perfect explanation for me. I don't know if I could capture it any better than that. I love the two wolves idea.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like two wolves, sometimes three.
Three wolves are inside you. Yeah, we're not going down the Joe Rogan style of wolves here. Your lifestyles that you told me include, and I can agree with all this: mermaid, swamp creature, snow and skateboarder, waterfall and beach addict, anime, sushi, cyberpunk noodles, movies. Those are the main components that make the Voltron that is Jared.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm getting better at realizing which components are the things that make me up and make my mermaid heart sing and my cyberpunk eyes light up like Sailor Moon twinkle eyes.
Incredible. And you're also, for people that have not seen, you're also rocking your Sailor Moon blue hair right now as well, which suits you a lot. You're looking good, man.
Thank you. Also, look what pillow is behind me.
Oh, perfect. Amazing.
So I've got a Sailor Mercury pillow that I'm just cozied up to. Really nice swamp nymph day, sitting by the fire, and really excited to speak with you about all things me.
Yeah, so this is a cool setting. We're out in your home in Sussex, and the river is raging right now. The levels are very high. And it kind of looks a bit Twin Peaksy outside, I guess, today. But it's making for a really nice atmosphere, especially with this crackling fire. So, Jared, I first met you when I came to Moncton about maybe 18 months or so ago. And I think my first intro to you was Goth Night. I believe you were wearing Peter Criss makeup, the kitty cat. Can you talk to me, before we get into the art thing, can you talk to me a bit about Goth Night and what drove that? Because even on the way here, you were blasting gothic beats all the way. It's very cool.
Yeah, oh man, that was cool meeting you there. And yeah, I was in the Peter kitty Kiss outfit. It's wild because I love the way that the Kiss makeup looks, and then I add like my own twist with fake blood out of the mouth and everything, and yeah, it's super fun. And speaking of Twin Peaks, I've also got a Twin Peaks shirt on today as well. Speaking of the outside Twin Peaks and inside my heart Twin Peaks and on my body, my alien body. Yeah, so Goth Night came about, the birthplace was in Laundromat, which is a bar you like to go to.
It's maybe my favourite bar in Moncton, I will lie.
So I started DJing for Marky at Laundromat probably about 10 or more years ago. And I would just play a random mix of all sorts of things that I liked. And then I grew up listening to punk music and synth punk, 80s new wave and stuff. And then I said to Marquis, what if I just did synth punk and 80s goth and things like that? And Marquis said, sounds like a good idea, but if you're going to do it, you need to commit, because people will throw like garlics or things at you if you do not commit to this this theme and make it super vamp. And people love a theme, and I have more than enough vampire music. So yeah, so that would have started about 8 years ago at the Laundromat, and it was my biggest DJ night yet, because people really were excited about the vampire music and the theme. And I've just always loved Gothic music. My brother always played a lot of The Cure and Joy Division and Bauhaus, and so it just seemed like a good fit. And then dressing up like a vampire didn't even seem like dressing up. It just seemed like being the real me.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. Yeah, it's a really good community that comes together. Everyone seems to be so into it. Is that something that you're going to continue to do? Like, are there plans for like future, what we're saying, vampire and chill?
Yeah, definitely. So also about 2 years ago, I got in a car accident. So I've been healing a concussion. And 2 goth nights ago, it might have been the one that you saw me at, I ended up having to go to the hospital after because it just overwhelmed my senses. So the past couple years, I've only done about 2, but now I'm starting the Vampires and Chill, which is a smaller venue, a little smaller crowd, and a little easier on the head just for now.
Nice.
But I'm getting a lot of treatments and hoping to get myself back to my regular vampire self again. But yeah, I definitely am going to keep going with that. And I've got a lot of ideas too, like a Christmas zombie stripper night or something.
Okay, all right. I don't think that's a term I've heard before. That's a new combo. So from just on the subject of the concussion then, is it a sensory overload? So like too heavy beats, too much strobe, just complete sensory overwhelm?
Yeah, exactly. I'm all right until I'm not.
Yeah.
And I thought I'd be okay to do it, but I still realize I'm able to try things, but then I have to realize what works and what doesn't. So I tweak them, and I've taken a lot of steps back with my art and murals and things like that. So, but slowly I'm trying to reintroduce my art and vampire life back into my everyday existence.
That's good. That sounds like a healthy way to do it.
Thank you.
And yeah, it makes complete sense, because when I did meet you, I think it was, you started playing Transvision Vamp, I Want Your Love, and I came over to you, I was like, I love this song, and you looked at me so spaced out. I was like, is he okay? Are you all right? So yeah, that makes complete sense. Would we be okay to talk about the accident?
Yeah, of course.
Because it was kind of news to me. I didn't know that you'd gone through it. So if you want to just tell us what the hell happened.
Yeah, we can talk about anything you want here, Joe. Anything is on the table. So 2 years ago, it was right after Taco Week. It was May 17th to be exact. I was just driving on the Mapleton, and I got rear-ended in the car. So it's so crazy, because I just pulled over and then still went to another meeting later on, but I was in shock. Wow. And it wasn't till a couple of days later that everything just started to all tense up.
Oh.
And then 2 years later, I'm still doing multiple different therapies.
Oh, God.
It was concussion and whiplash. So... but yeah, I guess it could have been a lot worse. I still have all my limbs and things, but it's just like, what's been the biggest change is learning about invisible injuries and finding the right support with the different doctors and treatments and things. Yeah. Because I don't even have a family doctor right now. So It took so long to find the right people who could get me over to the other recommended like healing positions. Healing positions. Yes. So now I just started going to Beyond 2020, which is the vision side of the concussion. So I didn't know that there was all these different sides to concussion. So some of the physio is through my eyes because we're still trying to link things back up with my brain. So I'm a little wobbly with some things in my eyes. I'm learning, have been going a little bit chameleon, which makes sense because I love chameleons. But instead of generally when you're focusing close on things, your eyes kind of tend to go more inward. But my left eye is like a wanderer that starts to go outwards and things. So there's still more wires to connect in my brain and in my life. So, but I think I'm getting new glasses which have a tint to cut off like the yellow and white light. So that will be pretty cool to have anything that can help things come back together. My whole life has really changed in the past couple of years, but but
I'll bet. Well, you always seem to be on with a project or working towards a project or just doing the hustle sort of every time I see you, which is it's kind of, it's not really how you find the energy to do it. Did you find that the accident sort of put a stop to some things like that? Did you have to sort of take some time out and force yourself to rest?
Yeah. At first, I was just resting all the time with a ton of painkillers, and it was, I'd do a little bit during the day, and then I'd just rest the whole end of the day. And now I'm starting to try to get back to different things. I lost a lot of art projects, like murals that I couldn't do, and I was supposed to do multiple taco weeks, one in St. John, but I didn't have the same energy. So yeah, things are slowly coming back together, and I'm really excited about it.
That's good. That's really good.
There's still a ways to go, though. But yeah, I've got some great. I've got a concussion specialist, and now an optical concussion specialist. So, and acupuncture and therapy, but what I really probably need is an exorcism. So,
so if anyone's listening out there that can do an exorcism, please just drop us an email. So. Let's talk tacos. Where did the obsession with tacos start? Yeah,
so along with my mermaid artist career, I've also done a lot of traveling. After I graduated from NASCAD in 2010, I wasn't sure where or what to do and how does an artist live in the world. And then I started learning about artist residencies. So first, I had gone to Iceland. We may come back to that later. But after that, I heard about an artist residency in Costa Rica. So from the land of fire and ice in Iceland over to the tropical rainforest where I was living with geckos and mantises and
That's an insane juxtaposition. That's wild.
It's so wild. So I just was living there for a bit, and it was incredible, and it changed my whole life. My sister would call me Mowgli from the Jungle Book, and I had literally different insects as pets, and I learned about tacos and corn tortillas, but really when it all started was Halloween. I had the option of going to a Lady Gaga concert in San Jose, Costa Rica, or going to the Day of the Dead festival in Mexico.
Oof.
So, I mean, both super, super cool, but my friend Mike, who's from Calgary, Dr. Wu, shout out, holla, he was just like, Jerry, you've got to go to the Day of the Dead festival. Actually, also funny link, you've got the Mexican blanket that I got in Mexico.
No way, that's awesome.
On your seat there, and I got a sugar skull there. So those are two things that I knew I needed, but it needed to be site-specific.
Yeah.
And then also, I learned about street tacos.
Incredible.
And it just blew my mind. It's like, I thought Do you know Sobeys?
I do know.
Okay, great.
I'm familiar with their stores. Yes.
So I always thought that tacos were like that kit that just was the hard shells.
The old El Paso.
Exactly.
White people tacos.
Yeah, but then once I went to Mexico, it just opened my taco eyes to the fantasy that is anything could go into a taco, and I became obsessed. And then, may I carry on? I've got more.
Oh, please.
Great. So then that was incredible. And I went back to Costa Rica. Then I was in Moncton for a while, but then still making tacos inspired by Mexico. And I was just like, I got to bring these next level. So I started really getting into plating and like adding all sorts of crazy purples and calling things Prometheus.
Excellent.
And one of my friends that went to school with me, Anna, she was living in the Virgin Islands, and her and her girlfriend had been sailing all around, and they found that at the different ports there wasn't close food by, so they decided to open a taco bar there. So I started sending taco pictures to her, and she was like, "Jerry, come work with us." And I was like, "Huh." But sometimes I need something told to me twice to know if it's real life, or 3 times. So a month later, I sent another dream taco picture, and she's like, "Seriously, come work for us." So then I just booked a ticket and went to the Virgin Islands to work at a lesbian taco bar.
Amazing.
Where I served tacos in a Speedo zebra print. And
outstanding.
And I would DJ there, and I'd sing with roses in my mouth and get like
Amazing.
dollar bills put in my Speedo. Anyways.
Living the dream.
And it was amazing there. And I'd like help with making preps for catering to the jungle parties there. And it was so cool. But then I came back home. All great things must come to an end. But then during one of their storms, their taco bar got totally wrecked. And that hit me so hard that I was just like, I'm going to make a taco festival and raise money to rebuild.
That's incredible.
But then they're like, "Jerry, we have insurance. So you do it still, but don't worry about us." So yeah, that's.
I love it.
So then I partnered with United Way because I still wanted to do that. I wanted to help people. That's like initially what set that emotional reaction to start that. Otherwise, like, I don't think if I didn't have that emotional reaction that I would have thought I could work with like 40 plus restaurants.
Yeah.
So definitely it was a wild taco extravaganza.
So you went from zero taco knowledge to basically setting up one of the coolest festivals in the East Coast.
Thank you.
How do you go about even starting that? I mean, you spoke to United Way. Did they put you in touch with the restaurants, or did you have certain places in mind that you wanted to involve?
I started with Mexi's. Shout out Mexi's, Matt Uden. He's been a huge help to me. I actually did a mural there that is a Day of the Dead festival themed. And when I was thinking about doing the festival, I initially started asking with him. And he gave me so much confidence that I didn't even have in myself, because I'd just done this giant wall for him. So he's like, "Yeah, do this. Like, I've been wanting to do one, but I've got a restaurant to run." So I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And then he put me in touch with going to check out United Way. And then they helped me with all sorts of different things. But I was just like, I wanted to do every part myself.
Yeah.
So I went around to the different restaurants, and I was like, "Hi, I'm Jared. I like tacos, and I want you to put a taco on your menu for 1 week." And it was all restaurants that didn't have tacos on their menu. So it was just like, still, I'm not even sure how I got to have all of these wonderful Moncton restaurants putting tacos on their menu. It's like literally putting together a dream menu citywide. But yeah, the pitch started out being 40 minutes, and then it got down to like 2 to 5 minutes.
Wow.
Just because I had done it so much that I was just like, basically, you want to be in this. And then they're like, I do want to be in this. Just like this taco Jedi mind tricks.
Well, I think in a way that's kind of the similar sort of way that you've done Goth Night. I think people love a theme, and especially Moncton seems like a good community place. Everyone wants to sort of like be involved if everyone else is involved. And I kind of like that sort of co-op vibe to everything. How many tacos do you think you eat during taco week?
50 to 70 on average.
Damn. And like how you're very thin as well. Like how do you juggle the 70 taco commitment and still like remain in shape then?
I don't know. Taco is just like, it's kind of like ice cream. It just fills in the cracks, as my grandmother would say. So it's like, there's always room for an extra taco. It's just like literally candy.
And Taco Week is coming back for this year, right?
Oh yeah, it's coming back strong, May 4th to the 14th. And yeah, it's going to be very hot. I had my first 2 meetings this morning.
Excellent.
Before we drove out here in the swamp nymph weather.
And there's an account, there are a couple of accounts online where people can sort of catch up with Taco Week, right? You're on Instagram, you've got a website.
Yeah, monctontacoweek.com is the website that I'll be updating throughout the month of April. And I'm on Instagram at Moncton Taco Week and Facebook too. So yeah, I'm going to be just posting like a wild taco storm once things get going. It's just like, it's like the wave pool at Magic Mountain, just all sorts of fun.
But made out of tacos, incredible. And I'll put the links in the show notes as well for everybody.
Thank you.
That's awesome. I'm very excited. I think it was Taco Week when I landed here last year, so like I landed just as it was beginning, like the best time. It was great.
Amazing.
I think the first one I had was up at Tide and Bore. So we touched very briefly on travel, but you are like remarkably well traveled. First and foremost, that starts with the arts, right? The art is probably what's helped you go everywhere, I assume.
Yeah, thank you. I didn't even set out to be a wild traveling boy. I think a lot of things all come back to the influence of my brother growing up. We used to watch a lot of Icelandic documentaries, and then when I graduated, the next the thing that made the most sense was to just go to Iceland. And then from there, it was like a domino effect of traveling. And each residency would lead to another one. Each show would lead to another one. And before I knew it, I was just like every 3 months traveling internationally, living in a different place. It was amazing for the artist CV, not so amazing on my love life.
Yeah, I'll bet. So I've got you down here as being in Paris 3 times, Tokyo, London, Iceland, Costa Rica, Ireland. Is that about right? Is that the list?
Yeah.
That's nuts. So what was Paris like? 3 times as well. That's crazy.
Yeah, I had... so sometimes my stories I don't even understand, but I've been very grateful and thankful to be lumped in with several incredible French Acadian artists in Moncton. Even though I'm English, they welcome me just as their own. And my friend Paul-Edouard Bourque was like, at an art show, he said he had this collector in Paris that has a castle, and he thought I should go paint it. And I was like, okay, so you want me to paint a castle in Paris and Bagnolet, France? It was just like, what? And then he contacted him, and instead of doing the mural there on the castle, the man in charge, Jean-Baptiste, he asked me to be part of his art bank that was stored in a castle in Paris. So,
incredible. So
I'd have... It was, I think, over 4 or 5 years, I had 3 different shows in Paris. One was at IESA, the Institut d'Art École Supérieure, and that was right downtown. Surprisingly, a lot of my friends were in Paris at that time, so I had like some of my best friends were at my show, like my childhood friend Josh that lives in Paris now, my tattoo artist that did my left leg and left cheek, Travis.
That's butt cheek, not face cheek.
Yeah, I've got a thigh to ass Grim Reaper on me. And so Travis was there doing a guest spot for tattooing the same week as me. So we stayed at the same hostel.
Amazing.
Went to like the catacombs and everything. It was crazy.
Yes.
And my best friend Claire, her and her girlfriend were there. And another friend and now a collector of mine, Annie France, she was also there visiting with her mom or something. And then I like made friends at a hostel as well. So I was rolling like 10 deep into this show in Paris.
Incredible.
And then we went out for seafood after, and it was just so wild. Like each adventure, it's like Toucan Sam. I'm just like following my nose. Like it's so wild.
That's so good. And I think it's incredible that it just so happened that your friends could be there as well. That must have felt, I don't know, that must have been a big confidence booster for you. Because it must be, I mean, I don't know if you do feel like this. Do you feel it's intimidating going to a different country to display your art?
I almost feel that it's more comfortable than even just going to the mall or to or to get new jeans or just different. I'm like not a real human. I don't know. Something about hopping on that plane and the feeling of when you're taking off and going to this new place that you know nothing about, and you're about to like learn all about these cultures and new art and all these things. That's what I thrive off of. It's just like the best natural high ever. And even Tokyo, it was just so surreal because I've gotten lost on the Montreal subway before, metro, but in Tokyo, I somehow got everywhere like seamlessly.
Yeah, it's kind of easy to follow. I've done it a few times now, and I won't lie, I've not been sober all the time, but I've always managed to get to where I've needed to. It's pretty well set out. It's just that Japanese sort of like, they don't want any hassle, so they just make it as easy as possible for you. I totally get it. And where in Tokyo did you display?
I was in Amatsusando Hills, and I stayed in Shinjuku, where I just walked around with my eyes like barely blinking, like again, Sailor Moon sparkle eyes constantly. I was there for a week, and it took almost half the week for me to be able to last until nighttime, just because I was so stimulated outside.
Yeah.
I'd just have to keep going back to my little like bunk hostel, and each store that I'd go to, like I'd get so many treats, like candy, naughty magazines, toys, all sorts of things. So like my bunk bed was just, half of it was where I could sleep, and then the other half was just magazines and crazy drinks. And
yeah, I can completely understand that. That's how it felt like first time I went. We stayed in Shinjuku, and we had it was just me and my buddy Chris. We got a 2-bed business hotel in Shinjuku.
Yes.
And it was just filled with crap, just so full of toys and like magazines and DVDs. And yeah, it's a neon kind of playground there, especially Shinjuku. Mm-hmm. It's fully, if you've played the Yakuza games, it's kind of where they're all mainly set, and that's a city that never sleeps.
Yeah, it's so incredible. And have you seen Enter the Void?
Yes, yeah.
Have you seen, what's the one with Bill Murray and...
Lost in Translation.
Yeah. It was like a mixture of those two movies.
Oh, God. Very calm and very intense.
Yeah, every time I travel internationally, it's like so wild. Somehow I just end up in these wild situations where I'm just like a quiet boy, but somehow you just like end up in wild scenarios. Yeah, I went to like the robot cafe. I got like my feet tickled by a little fish,
Nice.
the fish doctor. I went to like host bars that were far beyond my budget. I went to like arcades that were just skyscrapers. Like,
yeah, the Sega ones.
Man,
So good.
It was insane. Like I couldn't believe that I was now in like Blade Runner, and I just was like traveling around in camo joggers and like an Alice in Wonderland sweater, just with like my tunes going, just like floating around. It was so crazy.
Yeah, I found myself like taking slow motion videos of puddles with rain dropping in, with neon being reflected and things like that. I was like, oh, I'm doing the full Japanese thing now. I've gone full tourist. So, I mean, aside from Tokyo, Japan, what was the Iceland situation then? What was the gallery there?
I had applied to 7 different artist residencies and heard back from one, and I was like, okay, here I come. Funny story, in 2010, I was actually living in Vancouver during the Olympics.
Right.
And going to Olympics parties.
Nice.
I would pretend I'm like a aerobic skier. And shaved my head into a mohawk at one of the parties. It was wild, just super wild. I didn't get to see any of the Olympics, but I went to the Olympics parties. And I heard back from Iceland there, so I just hopped on a plane, went back to Moncton just for like a day or two, got sushi with friends, and then departed for 3 months. And I went to the north of Iceland, Skagastrand, this little town of 500, and yeah, and it's wild because it's this town of 500, but somehow all the people there, like all these cool guys that were like in metal bands and into metal and all this stuff. So I still keep in contact with a lot of the guys that I met there. And there was like houses that were black pyramids, and there was these dream horses, like beautiful Iceland ponies. There was giant jellyfish. It was just like encapsulated with mountains all around it too. And there was about 10 to 15 artists every month. And yeah, it was so cool. And a lot of the artists that I met there, I've kept in touch and even gone to visit some of them, like Justine Otto. I have one of her books on my shelf there, but I was even in one of her paintings. She asked her husband and I to pose in our underwear in bunny ears.
Excellent.
And she was like, will you guys do this? And I was like, absolutely. And so it's so funny. And then she puts people into these surreal scenarios, and it just was like a whole other dimension. And she's been showing all around the world. And she even came to Moncton, her and her husband, and they're so cool. And then I also went to visit them in Germany too. And then other people from North Carolina and Montreal, Malaysia, just all these people, and I've kept in touch with almost all of them. It was just, when you put yourself out there to live in like this small town and like close to the Arctic that most people never get to see, there's like blue whales washing ashore. It was just like the wildest scenario I've ever been in. I like hiked a mountain with like sheep and like grazed with them.
Do you think you'd go back?
Absolutely. So also for the past 4 or 5 years, I've been working on a book too. And then I want to kind of go to all these different places that will be in the book over the span of, well, it was going to be 2010 to 2020, but now it's going to be 2010 to 2025.
Incredible.
And I just have these different places that I'd like to go. I'd probably launch a goth night there as well, because my friends do like really cool audiovisual stuff. My friend Almar and Indy, so many incredible people there. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Talk to me about this book then. What's the plan for the book?
So I was having a touring art show in New Brunswick that started in 2017 or 2018 with curator and friend Paul-Edouard Bourque, who's a Acadian legend. He was just like, I want to launch one of your shows just all over the place, and I think you should have a book too. And I was like, yeah, okay. So what set out to be just an exhibition brochure that was going to be over the span of a summer to make, we realized we had far bigger ideas. So then it just kept growing. And then I got 3 writers that already have done like the forward for it. It'll show the different years and the different artist residencies that I went to. I want to have like photos of the adventures too, because the art is informed by my adventures and things too. So, and the food, such a magical time. And I've got really wild ambitions for, say, the next 15 years as well. So having this book as this physical object that I can look at and be like, wow, I did these different things. Since the world had stopped during the pandemic, I realized how much momentum I had going, and you don't really realize what you had done until things kind of stop. And then I stepped back and I was like, whoa, I did a lot of things just in like 10 years or so. So to be able to have that in one physical book that's outside of the computer, I can't wait till I can hold the book and be able to use that to propel the next 10, 15 years of wild adventures too.
Does it have a title yet, or is that going to sort of come at a later date when it's starting to take more shape?
Yeah, right now it's just Jared Betts 2010 to 2025, but I don't know. There could be more titles floating around. I do have a title for my next show coming out in July at a Katzman Gallery in Halifax. This is tentative, but I've been talking about like slaying dragons and riding swans.
Amazing.
So that's basically the theme of my life. So
incredible. And I take it the art is going to be sort of informed by that title. Then is it going to be juxtaposition of things, or is it just going to be new Jared stuff, just with the cool title?
Yeah, it's going to be definitely one of my wilder shows, and also probably one of the most like heartfelt shows. Can we get emotional?
We can absolutely get emotional. Yes, please.
Okay. So as you know, I lost my brother and his husband this year, just within like the past couple months, and it's just devastated me completely, but it's also bringing so much inspiration in my heart, because now I have like two people that I'm working for and within me. And so there's so many things that I'm being inspired by to just create really powerful works. Generally, it's always abstract, but there's been these two ducks that keep visiting us, and my family keeps saying like, it's Jason Tim. And so I'm going to draw some mallards and like unicorns and dragonflies. You're able to put like symbols in the obituary. So I was just like, I really want a dragonfly. So I found a dragonfly design and made it my own and put like the star that I have tattooed on me. And it's going to be definitely a really strong emotional show that I'm really excited to do, and I'll be doing that in my studio that I'll show you in the
That's
in
awesome.
the other room there. So that'll be pretty cool.
That's beautiful, and that must be so hard as well. Between the car accident and then recent double tragedy, it seems like you put those things straight back into the art. It seems like you don't stay still for long. It seems like you're always working on something, and even when you get what have been huge setbacks that could, devastate someone and just probably, put you into a dark corner for a long, long time, you seem to work through it and just put it straight back into the art and put it back into the communities and travel with it and take it to people. How do you keep that energy up?
Yeah, thank you. Well, I have a lot of breakdowns behind the scenes. I guess that's just all part of grieving. This is all such new territory. Like, it's like something you only see or experience through movies or something. And it's just so surreal. It's like I had two options, like to sink or swim. And I just needed to get my iridescent mermaid tail shined up and just keep like rocking, I wanted to even not do Taco Week and just take time off, which would have been fine, but I felt like, I feel like my art and my tacos and my mermaid life is all inspired by life, experienced life, and I want to push through, and I feel like sometimes out of horrible tragedies, really beautiful things come if you just be vulnerable and put yourself out there. So I just definitely going to work through all of this, and I'm just excited to connect with people and hopefully inspire people. I've had this really wild, incredible, overwhelming support of so many beautiful people that my brother and his partner had touched in their lives, and it's just yeah, it's amazing the amount of support that I've been getting. So I just want to keep rolling with things. And yeah, a lot of the best music and a lot of the best art series is, I don't know how to vocabulary.
I guess series.
Yeah. They always kind of spawn out of tragedy, heartbreak, loss. A lot of my favorite painters, a lot of their biggest works or shows or musicians, they just, when you have the story on your heart, channeling it through art, I think is when it's the most felt. I've got like chills going all through me. It's just like, yeah, it's...
I'm glad you can talk about this because, I mean, we've been told, we've had this podcast booked in for a while and then tragic things happened. And this is why I've been like, do you want to keep doing this? And you've been completely open about it, being like, no, I really want to talk about things. And it's amazing bravery, and it's pretty inspiring, to be honest, man. Like you're a resilient bastard. I like it a lot. It's really good to see, and it's also really good that you've got such a good support network. Your family seems like an incredible sort of anchor, a rock that you've got there, and then you've just got friends everywhere. Which again is a reflection of, I think, the work that you do, because it tends to be community focused and it seems to be like for a group of people rather than just like for one person. That's my perception of it anyway.
Yeah, thank you. Also, you're a beautiful bastard.
Cheers, man. I appreciate that a lot.
And yeah, even though we've only known each other for a couple of years now or so, I just feel really comfortable around you. I feel like you're new to Moncton, but it also seems like I've known you forever. And
That's awesome.
I've been so excited not only to do this podcast, but just to share anything with you, because yeah, it's been amazing to connect, and yeah, I'm excited about all things.
That's brilliant. So do you want to take a little break and we'll come back and we'll continue the chat?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Right, we'll be back in a minute.
Thank you.
Well, that's all the time we have for today in Chat Dungeon. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the mind of Jared Betts. There's some bonus content coming soon. We recorded a good couple of hours and we got some real good conversations going after just this little bit that we've played today. It was an absolute pleasure. So Jared, thank you for being the first guest on Chat Dungeon. If you're looking for more, head over to our website at dungeoncrawler.co. That's dungeoncrawler.co, and you'll find bonus content, guest bios, and sometimes even deeper dives into the topics that we've covered today. Don't forget to subscribe. You'll never miss an episode that way, and we've got some incredible guests lined up for the next few months. So to be sure to tune in and see who we meet next time down in Chat Dungeon. Thank you very much.